but the virus was there anyway. 2 days later, it was confirmed, and João was now infected.
Just north of Barcelona, medics have turned the hospital library into an intensive care unit. Spain is one of the worst.
Across Brazil, coronavirus victims are being buried, and young people are among the dead.
We have it so well under control.
Nearly 12,500 cases.
The total to 48,000.
We keep yearning for a return to normalcy during these unique and terrible times. History has proven, however, that all times have uniquely terrible afflictions.
So you have no idea right now?
There's another one. Another plane just hit.
Many of them of our own making. History has also shown us that great men and women rise to meet these afflictions.
We shall fight in France. We shall fight on the seas and oceans.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
The cost of freedom is always high, but Americans have always paid it. And one path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender or submission. Our goal is not the victory of might, but the vindication of right. Not peace at the expense of freedom, but both peace and freedom here in this hemisphere, and we hope around the world. God willing, that goal will be achieved.
And there are many heroes now too. But they aren't all leaders. Human ingenuity, leadership, and compassion is normality, and that is happening all around us right now.
Hi, this is Brent, and welcome to another edition, the May edition of the Northwest Cycling Club News. I want to thank all of you for doing your part, for staying home, for social distancing, for being first responders, for going to work, those of you that are doing the things that you need to do to keep the rest of us safe. We appreciate it. Thank you. Heroes aren't just great men and women in history books. Those of you doing the simple little things like staying home, like not doing the group rides, thank you. We're going to get through this. It's almost done. Thank you for all of you who are being heroes. There's not a whole lot of news this month. There's just not a lot going on in the world of cycling. What I do have for you is a great budget update from our treasurer, Troy Ottmer. We would have done that right after the first quarter, but that's kind of when all of this craziness started. So we're going to talk to Troy a little bit about what happened in the first quarter, about what the Bluebonnet Express being canceled means, and what the club's financial situation is. So here's Troy.
So here we have with us Troy Ottmer, the club treasurer. He's going to answer some of our budget questions for us this month, since things have been a little bit weird with the cancellation of the Bluebonnet and, you know, the club being kind of put on hiatus. How you doing today, Troy?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
All right, we're really glad to have you. You are the news. So I think what a lot of club members probably want to know is that with the cancellation of the Bluebonnet Express, we want to know, does that mean since we lost the revenue for that, but we also have expenses from the Bluebonnet, like some of the contract for law enforcement and the caterer and things like that, did we actually end up spending? Is that a net negative for the club?
It's not a net negative. In short, what we ended up doing, we did have the pre-registrations of approximately $15,000. And up to that point, we typically don't spend a lot of money on our events until the 2 weeks leading up to an event, where the caterers, the police, et cetera, come into play. And fortunately, with good communication with our ride directors, we were able to manage this in real time and make some good decisions before it kind of got out of control.
Okay, cool. And then, so we obviously lost the revenue from that. And but we did get the pre-registration money. So did we have any money? What is the cash situation from the event as it stands now?
As it stands, from the revenue that came in, we budgeted $57,000. Obviously, we're not going to do that due to the cancellation. However, we brought in $15,860, and our expenses related up to the point of cancellation equaled out at $3,992.
Okay. So we're doing pretty well as a result of that. And then what percentage of, we have two major fundraisers. What percentage of the club revenues for the budget this year was the BBX in 2020?
The BBX would have been 32% of the total incoming revenue. And coincidentally, the KFC would be roughly about 48% budgeted. And then the rest would fall down to club membership would be the next one at roughly 9%. Then the balance would be the Tour de Fayetteville, Texas Ultra Spirit, and the gravel grinder we were trying to put on.
Okay. With the BBX canceled, we can look at the future and guess about that. But with the BBX being canceled, what are some of the ramifications the cancellation of that event has had on the club budget items for the year?
It's basically how we've ran the club overall is we look at how the BBX does before we do any major spending. And once we see how well that does, then and the KFC, and then we start to do our donations and things say mid-year point forward. Considering that the BBX is canceled and considering the unknowns for the KFC, basically it's put us in a holding pattern for any and all spending. Riding and ride starts at Zuby are postponed due to the restrictions that the county and state had in place. So we're not spending any money there. Our board meetings and club meetings are also on hiatus, so we're not spending any money there. Things that are still active would be, the rent for our storage buildings and such. The good news, we have substantial money in the bank. We're in a good financial position, so we can weather the storm of having a bad BBX or a bad KFC, or in this event, maybe no BBX and maybe a KFC. Okay,
so we lost our fundraiser and we've saved some money somewhere else. But how, aside from the BBX, how is the first quarter? If we were just to go back, because I missed the first quarter update last month in the news because obviously the whole COVID thing was throwing everything up in the air. But aside from BBX, how was the club doing? How did our Q1 look in general, aside from BBX?
Typically, the Q1 is relatively light on expenses. Not a lot of activity in Q1, with the exception of the BBX. Again, as previously mentioned, we didn't go too deep into spending because we were proactive in watching the COVID situation. In addition to that, the only other major spending activities would be related to the race team reimbursements. Again, the COVID-19 event, as well as some of the weather events that we had in Q1, didn't have a lot of activity. And David and I discussed, we'll just ask everyone to sit tight that may have raced an event or two. And everyone was agreeable, understanding, and on board with doing that. And, so overall, we don't spend a lot in Q1 to begin with. It really starts ramping up after the BBX.
Okay, awesome. So what I'm hearing, Troy, and tell me if this is accurate, is when we get back to riding and doing things together as a club, we may have lost some ability to do some of these big events like the BBX already. But what you're saying is that our club is still going to be able to continue riding bikes together, doing club meetings, all the things that we've come to know Northwest Cycling Club for. That none of that is in jeopardy.
Absolutely, that is correct. I mean, we expect and we're hoping for the best, and with the COVID situation and looking forward, assuming we have all the restrictions lifted with some new norms that we'll have to do with social distancing and things like that. Assuming everything goes as planned, I see the club being able to hit the ground running. resuming the club meetings, resuming some of the other functions. Maybe we can even have our club picnic, which is coming up in end of May or June. And forward looking, we've temporarily put on hiatus the volunteer weekend, some of the other events that we may have. Hopefully the KFC takes off. But overall, I think we're in a great position to move forward without any hesitation.
All right, great. And if club members have additional questions that aren't addressed in this video, what's the best way for the club to reach out and ask the treasurer budget-related questions?
Simple, just like people do to submit their ride start reimbursements or race team reimbursements or other general questions. You can get the email address directly from our website at nwcc.bike, or you can do treasurer@nwcc.bike, and I can respond to any and all questions.
All right, great. And I can't let you go without this last question, Troy. Sure. Favorite Metallica song?
You saved the poster over there. That's really a hard one to pick just one, but if I had to pick one, it's called One.
All right, well, that's I think everything we have. Thank you so much for being part of the news show this month, Troy. We appreciate you, and stay safe, and hopefully we'll see you on a bike soon.
Thank you.
The other news, of course, is that our second major fundraiser ride, the Katy Flatland Century, has also been canceled for 2019. There are a number of reasons for that. It's been posted about in the Facebook activities page for the club, on the Katy Flatland Century page. But for the most part, what you need to know is that USA Cycling is still not endorsing, permitting anything with group rides, races, events. Some of the people that we would need to work with to put on that ride aren't able to do it safely or are not allowed to do it. And so the club made the very difficult decision, the ride directors, the board, the people in charge of the event, to not hold it this year. And those people that had already pre-registered will have their registrations forwarded on to next year. So if you registered and you're disappointed, we understand, but the ride will be there for you the next time as soon as it's safe to do so. That's kind of it for news. We do still have our ongoing programs with the club that you're able to participate in. Every Thursday night, we still do our Zwift group ride. Great group of people, anywhere between 18 and 35 people show up every Thursday night for an online virtual ride. You can free ride, do a structured training program if you're still training. I don't know what you're training for at this point, but if you're still training, we can do that too. It's a great group of people. The conversation is great. We all hang out and chat together on our Discord app while we do that. And even if you're not riding, you're still welcome to join us. We have people that ride on trainers. We have people that ride on rollers. We have, our race director, David, is on a watt bike. Our past president, Nancy, watches along while she's on a treadmill. There's all sorts of ways you can join us in that. The other ongoing program that still hasn't been affected is Coach Carl still offers his training program to club members. This is not geared necessarily towards racers. It's geared for people who simply want to improve their fitness with structured training. Maybe it's, a gateway program into racing. It's not specifically designed to get you into racing. It's just designed for every club member who wants to get more fit. If you have questions about that, you can ping Coach Carl, check that out. There's a special page for that if you need to know the details. And if you have any other questions, just let us know in the comments for the video. Last but not least, I asked club members to submit pictures of memories, happy times, happy rides, of them doing things together with other club members. I think it's important that we remember what it is that we are quarantining for. We are not just doing this to keep from getting sick. We're doing this so that we can eventually go back to doing the things and seeing the people that we love. There weren't a lot of people that submitted pictures, but I really want to thank those that did. So I'll leave you with that. Special thanks to Jeff Donnelly for narrating the opening, to Troy Ottmer for taking time to do the interview. Thank you, and we'll see you in June.